I have stood in places where hope seemed out of reach and failure loomed like a shadow that would not lift. In those moments, I learned something the world does not teach us often enough. Failure is not the end. It is a beginning, a fire that refines, not destroys. Each stumble taught me where the ground was weak. Each defeat carved out the strength I did not know I had. We often speak of success as if it is born in bright rooms filled with applause, but more often it rises from quiet places, from sleepless nights and silent tears, from the deep resolve to rise again after the world has told you to stay down. There were days when my dreams seemed distant, buried beneath walls built by others and reinforced by my own doubt. Yet in every failure I found a lesson, I found truth, I found a mirror that showed me not who I was, but who I could become. We must not run from our failures. We must face them, learn from them, and let them shape us into something greater. It is easy to speak of strength when times are good. But the true measure of a person is not how they act in moments of comfort and convenience, but how they rise in moments of challenge and controversy. When we fail, we must not curse the moment or retreat from the struggle. Instead, we must ask, what is this teaching me? And then move forward with that knowledge as our compass. The path to justice, to freedom, to dignity is not straight. It winds through valleys of disappointment and across mountains of resistance. But those who endure, those who turn failure into fuel, find a strength that cannot be taken away. That strength does not just change one life. It changes nations. It changes history. So if you have failed, know this: you are not broken. You are being built. Use the ashes of yesterday's defeat to light the fire of tomorrow's triumph. You have within you all that you need, not despite your failures, but because of them. Failure is often seen as something final, a dead end that stops progress and diminishes hope. Yet if we shift our perspective, failure can become the very beginning of a new journey. When we experience failure, it may feel like a door closing, but in reality, it is an invitation to open another door, one that leads to growth, learning, and transformation. Failure is not a signal to give up. It is a signal to reconsider, to adapt, and to continue moving forward with new wisdom. Every person who has achieved something meaningful has encountered failure along the way. It is part of the human experience, unavoidable and essential. What separates those who succeed from those who do not is not the absence of failure, but the response to it. When failure happens, it can either defeat us or fuel us. It offers a rare chance to pause and reflect, to ask difficult questions about our approach, and to uncover hidden strengths that only emerge through struggle. Failure forces us out of complacency. It strips away the illusion of control and perfection, reminding us that life is unpredictable and that success is rarely a straight path. In this way, failure humbles us, but it also empowers us. It challenges us to become more creative, to develop resilience, and to find new strategies that might have been invisible when we were comfortably moving forward. Without failure, we might never push beyond the limits of what we already know or dare to try something different. Moreover, failure reveals the gaps in our knowledge and preparation. It shines a light on where we need to improve and what we need to change. This feedback, though often painful, is invaluable. It allows us to refine our vision, sharpen our skills, and build a stronger foundation for future efforts. In this sense, failure is a teacher, providing lessons that success alone cannot offer. It teaches patience, perseverance, and humility, qualities that are essential for long-term achievement. It is also important to remember that failure is never the whole story. It is just one chapter in a much larger narrative. What matters most is what comes after failure, the decision to rise again, to learn from mistakes, and to keep moving forward. When we embrace failure as a beginning, we free ourselves from fear and shame. We recognize that setbacks are not signs of personal inadequacy, but opportunities for transformation. When we see failure as an end, we stop growing. But when we see it as a beginning, it becomes a catalyst for change, a moment that defines not what we lost, but what we can still achieve. It encourages us to take risks, to dream bigger, and to push boundaries, knowing that every failure brings us closer to success. In this way, failure is not something to avoid, but something to welcome, a vital part of the journey toward our highest potential. True strength is not something that comes easily or without effort. It is not born from comfort or convenience, but from facing challenges head on and enduring hardship with courage. When life is smooth and success comes effortlessly, we may feel strong temporarily, but that strength is fragile and often superficial. Real strength, the kind that sustains us through life's storms, is forged in the fire of struggle. It grows when we push ourselves beyond limits, when we stand firm in the face of adversity, and when we refuse to be broken by failure. Struggle tests our resolve. It challenges our beliefs, values, and endurance. It forces us to dig deep within ourselves to find resources we might never have known we had. Every time we encounter difficulty and choose to persevere, we build resilience, a toughness of spirit that strengthens us for future battles. This resilience is not just about physical or mental toughness, but about the deeper capacity to keep hope alive even when circumstances seem bleak. It is the strength that says, "I may be down, but I am not defeated." When we struggle, we also develop empathy and understanding. Facing hardship helps us see the world through different eyes and recognize the struggles of others. This kind of strength is not selfish or isolated. It connects us to the shared human experience. It humbles us, reminding us that no one is immune to pain or setbacks. In this humility, we find compassion, which in turn strengthens our relationships and our communities. It's important to remember that strength through struggle does not mean suffering passively or accepting defeat. It means actively confronting challenges, learning from them, and growing stronger as a result. The process may be uncomfortable and painful, but it is also transformative. Each struggle shapes our character and builds qualities such as patience, perseverance, and courage. These qualities cannot be developed in times of ease. They require us to face discomfort, uncertainty, and even fear. Moreover, struggle often reveals our true potential. When tested, we discover strengths we didn't realize we had. We find that we can endure more than we thought possible, and that our spirit is more resilient than our fears. This discovery changes how we see ourselves and what we believe we can achieve. It opens new doors and broadens our vision of what is possible. In life, no one escapes struggle. It is a universal experience. What makes a difference is how we respond to it. Those who view struggle as a setback may be discouraged or give up, but those who see it as a forge for strength emerge stronger, wiser, and more capable. They carry scars not as marks of failure, but as badges of survival and growth. Ultimately, strength forged through struggle empowers us to face future challenges with confidence. It teaches us that we are not defined by what happens to us, but by how we respond. It reminds us that every hardship endured is a step toward becoming the person we are meant to be, resilient, courageous, and unwavering in the pursuit of our dreams. Failure is often viewed as something to be feared or avoided, but if we look closer, every failure carries within it a valuable lesson. It is a source of insight that can teach us what we need to know to move forward more wisely. When we fail, we are given a rare opportunity to step back and examine our actions, our decisions, and the circumstances that led to the outcome. This moment of reflection is critical because it allows us to learn what worked, what didn't, and why. In many ways, failure acts like a mirror, showing us truths that are not always easy to see when we are caught up in the rush of success or the comfort of routine. It reveals weaknesses or blind spots, areas where we may have been careless, unprepared, or overly confident. These revelations can be difficult to accept, but they are necessary for growth. Without understanding where we went wrong, we risk repeating the same mistakes and remaining stuck in the same patterns. Each failure also pushes us to develop new skills and strategies. When one approach doesn't succeed, we are forced to innovate and think differently. This process of trial and error is essential for progress in any field, whether it be personal goals, professional endeavors, or larger societal change. The lessons learned from failure refine our efforts, making us more adaptable and better equipped to handle future challenges. Furthermore, failure teaches us patience and persistence. It reminds us that success is rarely immediate and that worthwhile achievements often require repeated effort over time. This perspective encourages us to remain committed even when the path is difficult. Instead of giving up after a setback, we learn to persevere, knowing that each attempt brings us closer to our goal. Importantly, failure also builds humility. It strips away pride and forces us to acknowledge that we are human, imperfect and fallible. This humility is a strength because it opens us up to learning from others, accepting feedback, and seeking help when needed. It encourages a mindset of continuous improvement rather than one of perfection or complacency. It's crucial to remember that lessons from failure are not just about fixing what went wrong, but also about understanding ourselves better, our motivations, fears, and limits. This self-awareness helps us grow not just in skill, but in character. We become more thoughtful, reflective, and intentional in our actions. In the end, the most successful people are often those who have failed the most, because they have extracted the richest lessons from their experiences. Failure becomes a teacher that guides them toward greater wisdom and achievement. When we embrace failure as a source of learning rather than a mark of shame, we transform setbacks into stepping stones. We begin to see that failure is not an obstacle, but a vital part of the journey toward growth and success. Adversity has a unique way of stripping away pretense and revealing the true nature of a person. When life is easy and success comes without challenge, it is tempting to think we have mastered ourselves and our circumstances. But real character is not built in times of comfort. It is forged in the crucible of hardship when the pressure is on and the stakes are high. It is during these moments of adversity that who we really are is tested, exposed, and defined. Facing adversity demands courage, the courage to confront fears, doubts, and uncertainty. It calls for perseverance, even when the path is unclear and the future uncertain. It requires integrity to hold on to our values and principles even when it might be easier to compromise. And it demands resilience, the ability to recover from setbacks, to rise again when knocked down. These qualities do not simply appear, they are awakened through the trials we endure. Adversity also reveals how we relate to others. It shows whether we respond with selfishness or generosity, bitterness or forgiveness, isolation or connection. The way we treat people during difficult times speaks volumes about our inner strength and empathy. True character shines brightest not when things are going well, but when we choose kindness, honesty, and patience despite the hardships we face. Moreover, adversity challenges us to be honest with ourselves. It exposes our weaknesses and vulnerabilities, but it also uncovers hidden strengths. It forces us to ask difficult questions: what matters most? What am I willing to stand for? Who do I want to become? This reflection can lead to profound personal growth and transformation, helping us to become more authentic and grounded individuals. It is easy to be carried by success, but standing firm in adversity requires a deeper kind of strength. Those who cultivate this strength become beacons of hope and inspiration to others. They remind us that setbacks and hardships are not the end of the story, but opportunities to prove our character and deepen our resolve. When we understand that adversity reveals character, we can face challenges not with fear or despair, but with determination and grace. We can embrace difficult moments as chances to grow, to learn, and to show the world who we truly are. In this way, adversity becomes not a barrier but a doorway, one that leads to greater courage, wisdom, and strength. So, as we move forward in our lives, let us remember this truth. The measure of a person is not how they act in times of ease, but how they stand in the face of adversity. Let us choose to meet hardship with courage, to hold fast to our values, and to rise each time we fall. For it is through these trials that our character is revealed and our greatest strengths are born. And in doing so, we not only transform ourselves, but inspire those around us to believe in the power of resilience and hope.